Hello, hello, hello. You're going to see me get up and take off for a moment because I'm going to go and get my tea, which isn't done, but I got to put the hot water in it at least. And then I'll bring it over, and when it's ready, then I'll deal with it at that point. Oh, did it? Okay. I had a moment where I had a thought, and I thought that that I had unplugged the kettle, so that when I put the water in, that maybe it wasn't actually hot, that it was that it hadn't boiled, and I just poured it in, and that I've done that before, and I'm not a fan when I forget to make the hot water, right? You just ruin the tea because it ends up being cold. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards. Just I do this on YouTube, or sorry, on TikTok when I go live throughout the week, and I'll be going live tomorrow on TikTok at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So it's a later time for the live, but I'll be there, and I'll do some cards, and we'll talk about some things. Today we'll do more of an educational thing, but I'm decided I'm just going to pull a couple of cards and see what comes up for the collective for today. All right, we've got Justice in the shadow position. So some things could be happening that are not necessarily in your favor. There could be delays in legal matters, stuff like that, or you may not see justice occur in something that's, we could talk about a variety of different things that would apply to that. When you think about a bunch of the stuff that's happened that has been inhumane, and many of the people that have done that won't pay any debts for it, right? They won't. So that's what that card can represent, is that kind of energy. All right, what else do we have coming up for the collective right now? Because there's definitely more than that going on. I was thinking about using the animal tarot, but I grabbed this deck first and just ended up going with it. So the Light Seer Tarot is it. Oh, that one decided to keep right on going off the table. Ooh, nice. And what we have is the Lover's card. So beautiful. So the Lovers can mean a relationship. But it's also talking about balance, and that balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's very passionate energy as well. And it can mean relationship, or relationships heating up, relationships being in a good position. So even though we had the Justice card, I have a little bit of water. My tea is going to be far too hot to drink anytime soon, so we'll have to hang off. I just have a little tickle in my throat, and it's not clearing. But anyway, we'll carry on. All right, what else do we have for the collective? Ooh. All right. We've got Death and Rebirth, but in the Shadow Seer position. So this is where we're hesitant to let go of something or holding on to something that needs to essentially die. So we're preventing our rebirth because we're holding on to things that are far past their date of good. Right? When we're in that relationship and we know that we should have ended it, but we haven't. And, it's usually, there's children, or there's money, or there's those types of things that we start thinking about. There's so much that you have to go through when you end a relationship, and the more enmeshed that you are within that relationship, the harder that exiting it can be mentally for us to to end up doing it. So we may prolong that, and that's the kind of energy that death and rebirth has when it's in the shadow position. And then we also have the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is about legacy. It's about money, being very financially stable, right? And it's interesting how I laid these cards out there. All right. I'm trying to just take them slowly, one at a time. And so we've got the Page of Pentacles in the shadow position. And the Page of Pentacles is usually about newness as well. And it's also about earth magic and connecting with the natural realms. So this may be a time for you to reconnect to nature, reconnect to natural, holistic ways, come back to, come back to how we're supposed to be. Which some of us are doing that. I've been doing that for sure. But it is something that I encourage with everyone that I'm talking to, the importance of making sure that you are choosing the healthiest products for you, for your body, for like what you're eating, what you're putting on your skin, your clothing even matters as well. So looking at using the most holistic and natural products that you can, and being really conscious about what you're purchasing, where you're getting it from, and how healthy it is for you. So we've got the Four of Wands that came out, and we also have Temperance. The Four of Wands is the 1111 card. It's celebration. It's can't even signify marriage, but it's just really joyful. It is expansive. It is abundance, and it's giving me chills. For whatever reason, talking about the Four of Wands is giving me chills. So this is a very powerful part of the reading. And then we've got Temperance, and Temperance is the card that represents Sagittarius in the major arcana. And if we go through, the Lovers represents Gemini, and the Justice is Libra. So I was thinking if it was Judgment for a moment. And then Death and Rebirth is Scorpio. So there's those astrological signs are represented through those cards that are here as well. So Temperance is a card about balance. It's about not going like so fast, right? Like you temper yourself. You're slow. You're not flying off the handle, or like going too rapidly that you're not allowing yourself to think. Some things need time, and like when we plant the seed, we have to give that seed the proper time to grow before it becomes a plant, before it sprouts, right? It needs that time in the darkness, and it establishes its roots, and then it begins to grow. So that's the energy of Temperance, as well as, it's a very spiritual, energetically, it's a very spiritual card as well. It's balancing the light and the dark elements, right? It's the balance. And it has, on the card, he's holding the sun and the moon, right? Those are the two planetary bodies that are in the picture. And, the moon is, your emotional aspects, whereas the sun is more your ego, the light dark combination there as well. So we're just balancing those elements, and that's what Temperance is asking us to do, is to balance those things. So besides the fact that there may be something that we're not willing to, or we've been hesitant to let go of, or maybe delayed, for me, I think it was probably 2 years ago at least, I had the idea of moving back to Alberta. and I didn't do it at that time. I could say I chickened out a little bit, or I just didn't feel it was the right time, even though that's something that I had wanted. But and here I am now, and I'm doing it. So, that could have been something where I should have let it go before, but I hesitated and held on to it. So that would be some way that the death card could be represented. The Justice card, my guides just told me to grab the book. And it's interesting. I opened it straight to death and rebirth. So that's clinging to the past, the fear of change, sentimental attachments, forces of destruction, mortality, the end of hope, and mourning. Loss is what the author talks about, the shadow of death and rebirth, right? So it's more than just clinging to the past. And I think that needed to be read. So now I'm going to look at justice, because justice was the other one that was in the shadow. So this is about consequences, retribution, karma, injustice and inequity, dishonesty, imbalance, a need to take responsibility for your past actions. So that's coming up for us in those spaces. And then, like I said, we've got the Lovers card, and I'm just going to check in on this one as well, give you what the author has. The Lovers is a choice, dualities, harmony, a lover or romantic relationship, friendship, unity, choosing to allow yourself to fall in love, healthy boundaries, soulmates, and also, like I said, the balance of the masculine and feminine energies. And then we might as well read Temperance, because these ones were the major arcana, and represented by astrological signs. So Temperance is alchemy, blending energies, harmony, moderation, masculine and feminine balance, duality and amalgamation, the fluidity of time, meditation, the perpetual motion of life, neutrality, restraint, patience, and purpose. So that just gives you a little bit more of the meanings behind the cards, so you can find what aligns with you. But don't force it to fit. You'll know just if it feels very balanced, then that's the energy, very grounded energy. If it makes you feel like nervous or off in any way, then it's probably not aligned with you. But allow yourself to discern that. Okay, so today I'm going to be teaching you the session or the theme of the session that I am recording for you today is the spiral of devotion. And this is sacred practice as sovereign alignment. So our celestial context, and I always talk in terms of true sidereal, because to me, it makes the most sense that we would look at where the moon is right now in the sky, and where, Pluto is, and where Saturn is, and where all the planetary planets are, as opposed to saying, well, it is August 28th. So, we're in Leo season we're in Virgo season because it's that it's that time. And so the moon, when it's in a full moon aspect, it's opposing. So then I guess the moon's absolutely in Pisces, right? Because it opposes Virgo. I like to just go with where they are. So that's why I use true sidereal. So the moon is in Virgo, which is the priestess, the sacred devotee, and the architect of daily reverence. Virgo teaches that devotion is not control. It is clarity through sacred rhythm. We are invited to refine, realign, simplify, and devote. So the other thing about Virgo is they get really a lot of flack for being perfectionists and very picky, and Virgo is about refinement and mastery, not perfection. But that's the distorted way that we've been taught to look at Virgo. Because we know what we say about labels. When you agree to the label, you agree to what's contained within the label. So if you agree that you are a Virgo and then you are perfectionist and you are critical and you take those on. And so that's why some people, when they don't agree with astrology, they won't feel that they really belong to that particular sign. And there's a reason for that, because if you were to look at their true sidereal, their true sidereal alignment, they probably aren't under the sign that they think they are. And if they read what their true sign was at the time of their birth, they would probably feel differently about how it aligns with them. But anyway, I digress. So the sacred practice as a sovereign alignment. There is a rhythm beneath all chaos, and it is found in devotion. True Virgo does not demand perfection. It offers purification, not of body, but of focus, not of performance, but of alignment. It reveals that sacred living is not made in grand gestures, but in the quiet choice to realign with your soul each day. Devotion is not duty. Devotion is design, a living rhythm encoded in your Oversoul blueprint that brings your physical life into resonance with your divine truth. It's the way you tend to your flame moment by moment. The spiral of devotion is not linear. It is cyclical, eternal, and alive. Every return to your center reinforces remembrance. Every breath taken in truth is a sacred offering. The spiral of devotion is not linear. Okay? You are not here to conform to anyone else's model of mastery. You are here to let your life become your altar, your daily moments, your speech, your creations, even your silence, all as holy acts of becoming. So we ask, where have I mistaken productivity for sacred rhythm? Where am I chasing instead of anchoring? And what would it mean to become the priestess of my own life? Virgo, in her highest Krystic light, teaches us that to be devoted is not to be small, but to be centered in sovereign structure. Not the distorted kind that demands sacrifice, performance, or perfection, but the Krystic spiral that brings you home to your center again and again. Devotion is a love affair with your own becoming. Structure in Krystic alignment is not a cage, it is a cathedral. Your daily rituals are the bricks. Your breath is the bell. Your awareness is the sacred flame. You do not need to do more to be enough. You simply need to realign your life with what is true. Virgo invites us to purify the noise, build from essence, and embody your integrity. What you do every day is who you become. So we ask, what am I practicing? Is my routine reinforcing remembrance or reinforcing reaction? Am I worshiping distraction or anchoring divine rhythm? Discernment and sacred structure. Discernment is an act of sacred devotion, the ability to say yes with your whole being and no without guilt or fear of rejection. It's your sovereign compass, the voice of your oversoul reminding you what is true. True discernment is not judgment, it is remembrance. It is the recognition of what aligns with your soul and what does not, without needing justification. In a world that praises endless openness and fears boundaries, discernment becomes a radical act of clarity. It reclaims your energy from distortion and returns your will to divine alignment. Sacred structure, when sourced from Krystic alignment, becomes a living cathedral of your devotion. It is flexible, intentional, and designed to uphold your sacred rhythm, not suppress it. When you combine discernment with soul-anchored structure, your life becomes a map of sovereignty, not survival. Sacred structure is not rigid. It is living, breathing, and designed by your oversoul. Let go of systems that do not honor your truth. Let go of habits that keep you in delay. It's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Krystic service. Oh, wait. This would be a good conversation piece. And that would be, do you know how to discern things? Like, how do you know what your discernment is saying? Right? Like, are you aware of your discernment, or how on point is your discernment? Right? Are you good at recognizing when things are good for you or when they're not aligned with you? Do you know what something false feels like? Do you feel? I know for a long time I would say, I think I feel. I think like I would think about it, but I wasn't actually like feeling it. I think my tea. Yeah, it's like my kettle didn't boil all the way. I noticed something about it there. I thought, but it's not cold, but it's not hot. All right. So if you need help with figuring out how to know that something's aligned for you or not, and how to build your discernment, connect with me at Anshara'El.com, because I have a whole bunch of different ways that I can help you, whether it's books, classes, mini classes, longer courses, individual sessions, or letters to your soul, or membership groups. I have a whole host of things on my website, so go check them out. And I also have a nonprofit, and the nonprofit is called Hugs for Homeless, and we distribute bags to the homeless that are filled with essential needs. You can find out more information about that at my website. There's a page that's dedicated to Hugs for Homeless. Will eventually have its own page, but this was just more. It was just easy for me to set it up on my website as a part of it. So go check those things out. We're always looking for donations. There's a bunch of different ways that you can donate. And we do have a Go Get Funding page. When you're a nonprofit, you can't do a Go Funding page. You have to do a Go Get Funding. So anyway, we have a Go Get Funding account, as well as donations that we can accept through the website. So you can check that out. All right. Krystic service. You are not here to hustle. You are here to harmonize. And we are living in hustle culture. Like, I don't know how many people are, just think you should just go. And I don't operate like that. I like some structure and flow, and that has to go between the two of those. So there are some things that I schedule within my days and within my weeks, and there's certain things that I do in the morning with my morning routines. There's certain things that I have that are scheduled, and then there are other parts of the day where it's just flow. I just do whatever I feel like doing, and that's how it should be for all of us. So it's whatever moves me at that point in time is what I end up doing. So the hustle culture, though, that's where we're in. Keep us busy, keep us distracted, right? So in the Krystic model, though, service is not about sacrifice. It's about sacred reciprocity. And I've talked about this on my lives before. So definitely look at that. Your presence is a transmission, and your path is not meant to drain you, but to reflect divine flow. When you're over-identifying with hustle, you forget that your greatest offering is not what you do, but who you are when you are fully aligned. There's nothing more powerful than you when you're fully aligned. The vibration, the frequency that you're vibrating at is absolutely unbelievable. What it's doing for magnetizing the things towards you in your life and also repelling the things away from you. And you're going to be irritating a lot of people because of the frequency that you're emitting. Is going to rub up against them, and it's going to make them either lift up, or it's going to irritate them, and they're going to have something to work through at that point, if they choose to do so, right? And it's all about free will, so they've got the choice. So your path is not meant to drain you. If it's draining, it's not the right path. Okay? Keep that in mind. So true service arises from overflow, not obligation, from your center, not from a need to be seen, validated, or accepted. Right? If there's something egoic around it, then that's not in alignment either. Right? When it's how many, like if it's just all about metrics, and a lot of us get into those metrics, and if it's all polished because it has to be absolutely, you have to look and it's all about certain, you'll know when it's because you need to be seen, validated, or accepted. You are not a machine. You are a temple of living light. Let your rhythm be reverent. Let your offerings be encoded with ease. When you allow it to flow from you with ease, and you do it in alignment, and you just allow yourself time for space and time for the void and for stillness, then you're birthing things when they're meant to be birthed, right? If you are, if you know about babies, then you know that you want that baby to have as much time in the womb as necessary to a certain point. You want it around the 40-week mark. Now, you don't want to birth it too soon, because that can be dangerous, right? And likewise, you don't want to birth it too late, because if it stays inside the mom well beyond the due date, that can create its own issues, right? So you don't want to birth it too late. So it's all about allowing it the opportunity for that growth to occur that needs to, while it's in silence, while you're protecting it, and then birth it at the right time, and show it to the world, and not be holding on to it forever. There's so many people that I see who are so afraid to take that first step and put themselves out there, and to show up as they know that they want to show up, and it's sad to see that. So if you're having difficulties with that, definitely check in with me and see what I can do to help you. So ask yourself, am I giving from overflow or depletion? Where have I equated busyness with worth? And what if service was simply the act of being fully attuned? Your mission is encoded in your essence. Let your devotion to truth become your highest contribution. Service is not depletion, it is overflow. When you fill your sacred cup, your life becomes the offering. Your mission is not out there. It is within every sacred act of alignment. So I have an oracle card reflection, which is, what practice, rhythm, or structure is ready to return me to my inner sanctum of devotion. I can't say it. What practice, rhythm, or structure is ready to return me to my inner sanctum of devotion? I have a guided prayer for you. Holy architect of my soul, let each step be an act of remembrance. Let my breath be sacred, my words be true. May I devote myself not to outcome, but to alignment. May I build what reflects in my soul and dissolve all else. I now return to the spiral of sovereignty. All right, we've got a sacred, we've got an embodiment rite to close the live. And so you're going to take your one hand and put it on your heart, and your other hand and put it on your womb or the sacral region, your lower belly. It's the hara. So then we're going to breathe in, and a sacred rhythm. We're breathing in. And when we breathe out, it's I return to center. Breathe in, sacred rhythm. Breathe out, I return to center. One more. Breathe in, sacred rhythm. Breathe out, I return to center. Now repeat. I walk in devotion, not discipline. I build with sacred rhythm. I serve from truth. I am aligned. And so it is. And that's it. That's all I have for you for today's live. Join me next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern for our next live broadcast. And I'll have a recorded teaching that I'll drop on Sunday. And yeah, I hope to see you there. And do drop a like, a comment, and subscribe and follow. And have a great night.